Hello friends and welcome into my craft room. I'm Heidi with Heidi Ensemble DIY. In today's episode, we are going to be using some Dollar Tree products to create a very beautiful spring farmhouse craft look for your home. I can't wait to share all the steps with you. So come along and let's make something beautiful for our homes. Cloches can be so outrageously priced, especially when they're dome tiered tray cloches. Today we're going to be using a $3 vase from the Dollar Tree, a glass plate, a candle stem holder, a little wood finial, a wooden spool, and a wooden circle. I don't show that until a little bit later. But basically all of our supplies are very affordable. To start off, we're going to take the finial and the spool. I put hot glue around the finial and wood glue down into the hole, and then I brought them together. The wood glue is going to lock everything in, while the hot glue is just a short-term hold. Hot glue over time will just come apart when you glue wood together. You can see here I'm pushing that wood glue down in there by tapping it on my desk, and then we want to leave it upright, so I'm going to just put it in that candle stem holder. If you do not have this scraper in your craft room, I know I've been saying it a lot lately, but this sticker was so stubborn, and this is the perfect example why I love this tool. Number one, the blade is not sharp. It's a plastic blade, but the beveled edge allows you to get underneath the most stubborn stickers. If I was trying to get this off with my hands, there's just no way. So here I am coming around, going really slow, adding pressure, and now there's this sticky residue left over. Now normally I would use Goo Gone, but this time I decided to just take it to the sink with the scraper. I scraped off all the sticky residue using this tool. I'm going to link it down below. It is a super affordable tool. If you were going to splurge on something this month, this tool is absolutely fantastic if you haven't gotten one. If you have got one, leave a comment down below and share with everybody if you like it or if I'm just crazy. All right, we're going to move on to the dome. This is going to become a high-end cloche lid, and I'm going to take this wooden circle. All of my little wooden pieces typically come from the Dollar Tree or from Hobby Lobby, like the finials and the spindle. But this wooden circle, I actually did get that from the Dollar Tree. So I'm using E6000 on the wooden circle as well as hot glue. We want this to bond to the lid of this dome, this glass vase basically. And then I'm going to put some more wood glue into the spool, and that's going to all come together. And when it's done, you let it dry with the amount of time needed. I let mine dry overnight, and it is such a tight seal that I can pick it up from the handle with no problem. Now I'm going to use my E6000. I'm going to squirt hot glue down into the hole where the candle would normally go, and then I'm going to put that on the plate. The E6000 takes anywhere between 2 to 5 hours to really truly lock in, but I like that hot glue to keep it in place so it doesn't slide around. I took it outside, I spray painted it white, and now we're going to bring the whole look together. This is such a quick, high-end looking craft that anybody can do with the right glue on hand. I put the eggs inside from the Dollar Tree, added some Spanish moss to make it look like a nest, and now I'm going to take one of these beaded garlands. Again, you can get this from the floral section at the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to measure out the size of that dome from the vase, and I'm going to coil it around, making this beautiful beaded wreath garland. Once I've got everything all twisted in place, I'm going to just slide that right on top. And then to finish off the look, to give it that cute country vibe, I'm going to take this lacy ribbon from the Dollar Tree and tie a simple bow. Trim off the tails, and that's it. You have a high-end, beautiful look that was so easy to make. This project is a little more advanced, but watch the steps. I promise I try to make everything as easy to follow as possible. We're going to be using this plastic bowl, this plastic serving hors d'oeuvres bowl, this small cup, all from the Dollar Tree in their party section, as well as a foam square, a 3D wreath form ring, and then we're going to come in and decorate it with some more things towards the end. I'm going to bring these 3 plastic pieces together and just wait. It's going to look so high-end. People feel like they have to pay these super high prices for things, and I just love to show here on my channel, you can have the most beautiful home for like pennies, a couple bucks. I'm going to glue these 2 pieces together, the cup and the bowl, using E6000 and hot glue. Then I'm going to bring the serving miniature bowl for the hors d'oeuvres and the cup together, creating this beautiful urn. Now I'm going to let it dry before I spray paint it. I'm also going to clean up around any of the joints with a wipey just to make sure there's no messes. I'm going to let that dry. We're now going to move on to using air dry clay, which is so fun to use. I like to keep a little Ziploc bag of flour in my craft room for this exact purpose. As I tap the flour inside, it's going to allow the clay to come out very easy, especially in these very ornate, overly detailed molds. Push your clay in very snug and tight, and then wipe away the extra clay. I like to also not leave my clay out because it's air dried. So after about 5 minutes, you will start to notice that your clay is going to dry out. Keep it in a Ziploc bag off to the side so that it stays sealed and the air can't get on it. You'll see a little bit later on where I'm going to show myself folding it up and getting all the air out of it to store it away. I'm now going to work on some of this lace piping trimming work for our urn that we're going to be making. And I like to make my clay pieces as flat as possible where they're not bumpy. So I'm going to bring out my scraper tool and I'm going to just run across the top. I learned this years ago working in a pottery class. Did anyone take pottery when they were in high school or college? I did, and it was one of my favorite classes. Basically anything art-based was my favorite class in high school and in college. So now I'm going to wiggle the sides and flip it over. And before it completely dries, we want to work with it. Here is a tip, and I made the biggest mistake ever, and I want to share this with you all. Do not use hot glue. You can, but I would highly recommend using little dots of hot glue and using more primarily E6000. The hot glue as it dries, oh, by the way, here I am where I'm taking the air out of the bag and I'm zip tying it or zip locking it really tightly. Okay, going back to the 6,000 comment. The hot glue, you have to work with these clay molds, these clay pieces, when they're still moist so you can mold them to whatever shape you're working with. The hot glue over time will cause them to fall off. So it's okay to put like a little dot. And I just was on a roll and working on this project, and I forgot that fact because it's been a little bit since I've used this clay. So make sure you put E6000 on your clay pieces as well with a little bit of hot glue. That's going to make it so that nothing falls off. As I went to spray paint it, stuff locked together better. But then as I was painting it, there were some things that kind of like shifted a little bit because the hot glue and the clay that was still drying over time did shift a little bit. Anyway, that's just a pro tip from my mistakes. Learn from my mistakes. Use E6000 when you're using clay molds. I went outside, I spray painted this a dark gray. And the reason why I did that was because I wanted it to give it the depth that it needed for my project. I wanted it to look like a concrete urn that you would pay high top dollar for these type of home decor pieces. So I spray painted it gray. Then I came in and dry brushed on a cream. Now I'm dry brushing on this clay color. It's just like a tannish color. And that's going to bring in some of that concrete toning that you see in concrete. Then I'm going to come back in with some white more dry brushing. I'm now bringing forth the Fleur De Lis that are on the middle of this urn that we're making and all the other bumpy details. And then to finish, I'm going to come in with a dark brown, a chestnut brown, and I'm going to tap around the sides just like you would see on an urn outside. Just like that. A little bit of rustic in there, but you can paint this whatever color you want. You could just go straight black if that's your thing. You can go with all white and then do some distressing, whatever you want. But I wanted you to see, yes, this project is a little more labor intensive, but look at how cool. This is just using 2 bowls and a cup. Can you believe that? The things we can make in our craft rooms are limitless. I like to feel limitless when I make crafts, and I always make things and I'm thinking, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that project. Do you all ever have those moments where you think that's pretty cool? You're feeling pretty good about projects? Leave a comment down below to let me know. What is your most favorite recent thing you've made? Now you can see I took a piece of foam, I cut it down so it's going to fit in the bowl, and this is where our topiary urn is going to come together for a beautiful high-end spring look. If you bought something like this from Ballard Home, it would be outrageously priced. We're talking like a couple $100. Same thing with Pottery Barn. We are going to put this whole look together. Let's think. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about $11. I'm going to put this whole look together for about $11. Now, I am just working with this sphere. I'm getting it to where I want it to be. I'm going to put it on top of my foam piece, and I'm going to make my cut lines so that I know where I need to push down into the foam so that the wreath will sit in there properly. Take your time on this part, making sure you're lining up things right. And if you make a mistake, it's foam. You can just shift things over. And I'm using a popsicle stick to dig down in there deeper. This is going to allow this wreath ring form to sit in here nicely so we can glue it, because we want to make projects that are going to last and not fall apart. I'm big on that here on my channel. Now I'm just moving around the rings and I'm pushing it down, and then you can see that it's going to fit in there nicely. I'm going to hot glue it in so it locks in nice and strong and sturdy. And then I'm going to come at the bottom of my bowl, E6000 hot glue. I'm going to bring in that foam piece right on top, and then we're going to start to hide and conceal it because we don't want to see the green foam. That part's not that pretty. Be cautious at this point. The neck of the cup is thin in that area. You don't want to push too hard and wiggle around too much. It can crack it. So I'm just making sure that when I am pushing down, I'm just being gentle. It's not that big of a deal, but just be gentle so that you don't cause any pressure on the neck of the cup. I've got that foam concealed now. Now this part is optional, but I really wanted to make it look like something you would actually see in a garden. Friends, I love gardening. Give me a thumbs up if you love gardening as much as I do, especially in the springtime when all my tulips and daffodils and crocuses, everything starts coming up. Oh, my heart is so full when my spring flowers start to bloom. I covered up the top of that with some twine, tied a knot in it, and now we're gonna work on the bunny. I cut off the original raffia bow, not my favorite. Let's make it look a little more high-end. I first put around a ribbon on the bunny, then I tied a bow and glued the bow on into the center of the bunny's neck so it looks like a cute little bow tie. I stuck a stick up into the bunny, adding some hot glue, and we're going to gently wiggle that down into the foam inside of the cage. Isn't this coming together so darling? You can put whatever you want inside of your wired topiary, whatever you want. And now I'm going to bring in some florals, and then at the very top, again, to finish the look, I'm going to add on this little wood finial. I'm just adding in lots of hot glue. There's a little piece of wire that I left sticking up at the top. I'm going to press that down on there, and at this point, I am so excited to display this for spring. In my home, I have the perfect spot for it. I hope you give this one a try. I promise it's not as scary as it looks. Have fun with it. Try a new element like clay. You won't regret it. It's so fun to work with. For this project, we're going to be using this larger round framed mirror. That's new at the Dollar Tree. I found it about a week ago. Some clay, air dry clay, a little nest. I'm going to link the ones that I get from Amazon, and some greenery. I'm going to just take out my clay. I'm showing how I pack it back up so I don't let any air get in there because it's air dry clay. Over time, it will dry out, but if you pack it nicely, you won't have that problem. It'll last for a long time. I'll also link my clay below because I love this clay. It's a great clay to work with. I am now going to make the shape of a bird. I first started by squeezing it in my palm to get kind of an oval shape, and then I'm going to curve down the back, make a rounded tummy, and I'm going to bring out the clay at the back end for its tail and start to shape its head and its beak. For the wing, I just decided to get a paintbrush. I pushed down into the clay the shape of a wing. Just kind of think of like a paisley shape or a yin and yang type of shape. And then for his beak, I'm just going to define it a little bit more. And I'm going to just keep playing with that until I like it. And now I don't want this to be super heavy on my mirrored frame. So I'm going to cut off a little bit from the back side, make sure it still looks good, and then put it off to the side. Now that extra clay that we cut off, I'm going to turn that into some little eggs that I'm going to use in my nest. So it's a mama bird and her babies. I'm just going to make 3 little eggs by rolling them together. The bottom is more rounded. The top is a more tear point. Think of like a teardrop. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm now going to test it out in my nest to make sure everything fits in there nicely. And then I'm going to let those just dry for a second while we work on the frame. I have this tool, this hammer that I got from Hobby Lobby a while ago. It is the coolest tool. It has a flat head. It has a Phillips screwdriver. Like it is the best. It has these little tools inside of it. You unscrew and then you can use it and have the hammer too. Plus it's super cute with the buffalo check. I took apart my mirror. I'm going to paint it a beautiful cream. I love using cream in the springtime. You're going to see that a lot on my channel throughout the spring. I'm now going to rough it up. Oh, I gave it 3 coats of paint. Don't let me forget to say that. I really wanted to make sure I covered it nicely. I'm now just roughing it up a little bit on the edges so the black comes through and we get that beautiful country look. And now I'm going to put my frame back together. Filming projects with mirrors, by the way, friends. I know that me, like myself and other YouTube friends, we always try so hard to make projects with mirrors without getting our face in it because let's get real, we're making crafters' faces where we're really focusing. So there's a couple times where you might see a little bit of my face where I just look so intense. I try to always cut those parts out because I just feel like a goofy person. But whenever I'm working with my paintbrushes, I like to wrap them up in a baby wipe in between painting sessions so that I don't ruin my bristles. I keep them moist so that they're not drying out and causing the bristles to get ruined. Now I'm going to put in my bird and my 3 eggs that I did a little bit of distressing with brown onto the nest. And I also add in a little bit of Spanish moss to kind of help conceal the glue a little bit in there. It's kind of tricky to get everything in there. You'll see in a second, you'll see the eggs and some Spanish moss in there. But now I'm going to add on a bunch of greenery. I saw this idea for the frame over on Antique Farmhouse. Oh my word, they were charging so much for this little frame. And when I saw this round mirror, I thought, wait a second, I could make that one frame that was on Antique Farmhouse. So we're just going to create this beautiful treetop look with a nest and these eggs with the mama bird. We're going to bring in some greenery and some florals that we would see around springtime. And that's it. Completes our look. You hang it up somewhere beautiful in your home. It's such a beautiful thing to have for springtime. And it reflects the light in a room, which is always my favorite. I love crafting for spring. What is your favorite season to craft for? If you haven't yet, please do give this video a thumbs up. And I'm going to recommend this video right here if you missed it from the other day. Thanks so much again for stopping in today. And until the next episode, bye friends.